Hi, Kitty. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
To start, this movie it's such a cool juxtaposition because it is uh and a lot of times such like visually stunning look at Australia, and then it'd be like the juxtaposition of, it's winter and these American girls roll up and are like, I want to go swimming, and they are just sitting in like a dried waterbed because there is no water because it's winter, and they don't think, just because, American simplicity. But for you, when you are kind of telling this darker story interwoven with, the American mindset in a foreign country, what was important for you as an Australian filmmaker to bring to life with your own knowledge of Australia within that story of having these American girls just kind of come to this country and having that naivete kind of leading them into the like more darker parts of the story?
Um, I'm not sure. I mean, we were conscious to make it look beautiful because Australia is stunning and the landscape is
Mm-hmm.
stunning, and we wanted to convey that. So even though the story is dark and goes into some dark territory, like we were very conscious that like the landscape should be like gorgeous, So when we were looking for places to shoot, like even the waterhole and this sort of place, we really needed it to feel. We thought visually that was kind of, why not make it take advantage of the country that we're shooting in. So to us, we were very like specific about where we were shooting and how and what we were kind of how we were portraying Australia. And also like because it does have some nice like the Sydney Harbour, and it's got some really beautiful kind of touristy things in there, even though yeah, it's a pretty dark story.
And you have legends. Like I truly realized, I said in my letterbox review, I'm gonna struggle to recognize Hugo Weaving now that he quote unquote doesn't give a fuck, because I was like, wait, is that Hugo Weaving when he first appeared? Because he has like this beard and his hair is kind of wild, and that's not how I'm used to seeing him.
Yeah.
But you have people that are legends within this movie, and it is kind of cool to see like him mixed with like Julia Gardner, who you've worked with before. And so when you were casting this, did you try and like bring someone like Hugo, who is Australian and people recognize him as being from Australia, with someone like Julia, who you've worked with before, is an American, and kind of like bridging the gap in that way between the two?
Yeah, I mean, I was so excited to work with Julia again. And it's always to me is like, who can I partner her with that will kind of challenge her and make her the best that she can be at whatever she does. So I'm often looking for the best actor. I know she wants that, she wants to share a scene with someone who's really brilliant and interesting and kind of can I don't know, get the best out of her. So of course we wanted, like, Hugo was such a dream. We also wanted, by the way, in casting our dudes, we wanted to make sure that they were good guys that understood what the movie was trying to say, that weren't going to kind of make inappropriate jokes, or you know what I mean, that we're going to be sensitive to the material.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really important. And Hugo Weaving is such a gentleman and such a kind, lovely guy, and he did like I was saying like I need a captain of the ship that can like everyone respects, that everyone loves, that can kind of, pull us all together a little and unite us. And yeah, and he did exactly that. He's so brilliant and so kind, and yeah, it was a joy.
I love that because, I'm a millennial kid. I watched Hugo Weaving for so many years, and it was so
Yeah.
fun to see him kind of just go off the rails in a way we've never really seen him do.
Yeah,
And,
he's brave. I don't know, as cool as he'll do it. He was, yeah, he really threw himself into it. It was really exciting. So yeah.
and you did get to use Jessica Henwick in a way that I love her. I think she's so fascinating, and this movie, especially, like, her charm really works because the whole idea is like Julia Gardner is like has the front of like a woman who knows like kind of not to trust the men around her, where she is like, I'm letting my guard down so that these men think that I'm cool. And it's like the two kind of sides that women have to put up. And I do really like how the end kind of brings those two women together. But I love the approach that Jessica Henwick takes to that character. And how did you guys kind of work together to build the two sides of Liv? Because she is like, she's still cautious, like she's a woman who can like navigate the world. She's not like some girl who's just going to put herself in danger, but she is a little bit more carefree in this situation than like Hannah is.
I mean, honestly, it was a casting thing again. Like Jess just brought that energy. She's so fun and goofy and charming as herself. Like, and so immediately I was like, oh, she gets it. Like she's British, I think, which helps a little bit because it's a little bit more the culturally they more into, they have the kind of pub culture
Mhm.
in Britain. And I think so there was that aspect of it. But yeah, we had a lot of conversations about Liv and who she is and how messy she is and even things like her posture. Like Jessica comes from action films. She often holds herself quite well. Like she has beautiful posture, but Liv's a mess and Liv needs to be messy. And so it's like kind of breaking her down, I think, in all these different ways. But yeah, so it was such a joy to work with Jess. Honestly, she's so lovely and kind, and it was just really fun. Yeah.
And we briefly talked about Julia, but like obviously this is the second time you guys have worked together. You guys worked on the assistant together, and it is cool watching her because she has these like quiet little reactions where she doesn't really say
Mm.
a lot, but you can kind of read everything that is going on in whatever character she's playing. You know what the thought process is.
Yeah.
When you're directing her in those moments, is there a lot that goes into it, or is it more of like a Julia moment that she kind of knows what to do as an actor?
It's interesting. Like it's all, yeah. I mean, I wonder. This is the thing. I mean, maybe in the assistant, I think on the first week or two of the assistant, we were figuring each other out. And after that, it clicked and we kind of got what each other needed. And now we don't
Mm-hmm.
really need to communicate that much. Like, I think she brings her gut instinct. And I kind of, with this movie, I probably wrote with her gut instinct in mind, so it's sort of hard to tell how much of it's her and how much of it's me. And like, we kind of have this very seamless kind of collaborative partnership, so it's sort of it's easy and it's fun and it's yeah, it's somehow it doesn't need to be dissected too much. We kind of just sort of have a connection, spiritually or something. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it is kind of weird timing, but like currently everyone's talking about like what girls think about on the daily. And one of your movies is what a lot of women think about constantly, which is, John Benet Ramsey in that case.
Oh yeah.
Like, because I think about it all the time. And it does play into like all of your movies because you do kind of pinpoint in every single movie things that women are constantly thinking about. And it's just like a theme. Like you're always kind of pinpointing that thing the women can't stop thinking about. So what is it about just like, I mean, I know on the surface it is because you yourself are also a woman, but what is it about kind of like, tackling the things that like lurk in the back of our minds as women that is so interesting for you as a filmmaker that you keep wanting to bring that to the surface in your work?
I'm not sure. I think I don't know. I just am gravitated to whatever I'm kind of my own curiosities and my own interests, and that's what I end up making movies about. So it's not like I think, again, like you said, like more broadly about that. I just kind of go, well, this is interesting to me, and if it's interesting to me, hopefully it's interesting to other people, and then you throw it around with other people and discuss it with producers and whatnot, and kind of figure out how it works or why it works. And then it's kind of, yeah, film's kind of built out of that, I think. So I'm just sort of highlighting things that generally it's things I find a little scary, probably, which is like something like the kind of, yeah, this outback pub world is like a really scary. I find myself feeling quite uncomfortable in those spaces. So yeah, it's just thought it'd be interesting to unpack that.
Yeah, and I loved it. So thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait for people to get to see the Royal Hotel.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thank you. Have a great
it.
one.